Hello everyone. In this video, I will be creating a simple login form using my framework. Now let's begin. As you can see here, I am running my project using the 81 port and the default IP address. Now let's open my project. And then as you can see here, I only have few files to run the project. If you have noticed, I am not using any Composer or Node.js. This project is entirely created by using the PHP, nothing else. Now, let's begin now. So the first thing we're going to do is create a login page and register page, and the last one is the profile page when the user is authenticated. Now, locate first the routes directory, then open the default file for the routes. Now, as you can see here, we only have one routes, and this is why the browser display the hello developers. Now, what we are going to do is we will create another route here for the login page. And then change this to a login page. Let's save it and then run. There you go, it is working fine. And now the next thing is the registration page. There you go. Now we have the login and register routes. Then we will now begin with the HTML page, and we will be using the blades. Oh, I forgot the profile route also. Now head to our views directory. Now, since we don't have any files here yet, we will create for the login page, login.php, and also the register and the profile. Now we are done. The next thing we're going to do is we will create another file for our template. First, create a directory. Let's say, for example, let's say components. There you go. And then create new file name called template. There you go. Now the next thing we're going to do is copy the default HTML codes right here. Copy, then paste it inside of the template file name. Now, since we have the template, what we are going to do is type Blade's name called page content, because the content for the login and profile and register will be displayed here. Now let's close this now. Well, let's change first the title. There you go. And remove this, and that's it. Now open the login page, and let's type the login page again, and also the register. Sorry. Done. Now now since we have the login profile and register file, we cannot render this into our browser because we didn't call this from our routes. So what we are going to do is, instead of printing anything here, what we are going to do is use the function build and call the login file name. There you go. Done. So always remember that when using the view function, it will always search inside of the views directory. Now let's test it. Let's run again. There you go. Register page. It is working fine. And for the login page. Now, the next thing we're going to do is call the template inside of the login page. So just type template. So the sad thing here is I don't have code snippet for auto completion for the blades, but it's okay. As of now, the important is we have the blades, right? So type the components and then template. There you go. And put it inside of the h1 tag. Then let's run again. There you go. It's working fine. Now, if we try to check the source, page source, then it is displayed inside of the template. Right now, just copy this and paste it to our profile page and register page. And it is working fine. And don't forget also to put anyway. So the next thing we're going to do is we will create a form page, just a simple form page. So let's begin with the login page. So let's create a form, and then method post, and the input for the email address. Type text. Let's say for text only. Um, Placeholder email address and input type password. And don't forget also the submit button. Now let's refresh the page. There you go. We have the email and password form. So the next thing we're going to do is we will create a post request inside of our default route file. So let's create route and post, and then let's say login or login form, and uh, create a function closure. Then let's test it. Submitted, and copy this one since we will paste it into our action inside of the form. There you go. Now let's test it if it is working fine. Example gmail.com and 123. Well, now as you can see here, nothing is displayed. The submitted is not displayed because the post request is not executed. Now, so the reason why it is not executed is because we forgot to put the name input. So let's add the email address and the password. There you go. Now let's try to refresh again. Oh, everything is working fine. Let's try to find out why. Oh, any placeholder name, action. Let's go back to our page, refresh, and let's try again. There you go. It is submitted. It is working fine now. Now the next thing we're going to do is we don't want to put all the procedure inside of our closure function, right? Instead, we will create a class and we will name the class authentication since we are going to create a login, simple login form. So, so what we are going to do is open the terminal and then check first our current path And here we go, we're inside of the sites. In this case, we can be able to run our artisan here. Let's try to run. There you go. So these are the available commands I made. So to create a controller class, we will use this code. Paste it and then space authentication class. There you go. Successfully created. Please locate this path authentication inside of the controller directory. Now open the controller directory, and as you can see here, the script is also generated automatically. Now, since we have the authentication class, what we're going to do is call it. Now, we will use the use and call the authentication. There you go. And then the next thing we're going to do is remove all the function closure because we're going to put all the procedure inside of the authentication class. So like Laravel, we will be using the array. Paste the authentication class. Then the next thing is login form. So since we don't have a login form class method, we will create inside of the authentication class. So let's do it. Login form. We will not return returning anything else. Uh, Die submitted. There you go. As you can see here, it will automatically locate the login form inside of the authentication class. And also, like I said, we will remove all the function closure. Just copy this and then login page as well as this one, register page and the profile page. There you go. Let's create this method point, then view login. It will display the login, the register page point, then view register as well as the profile page. Done. Now let's save it and run into our browser. Login. There you go. It is working fine. And the register, yes. So both of them is working fine. So so the next thing we're going to do is we don't want to call the authentication class many times, right? S- So in order to avoid this, we can use a controller method. Controller. Then copy the authentication class, put it inside of the controller arguments, and then call the group. There you go, function closure, and done. So to remove the authentication class, we will copy these routes and put it inside of the controller method, and then we will now remove this. There you go. Now, as you can see here, it is much more cleaner, right? Now let's save it and run again. There we go. It is working fine. Now, the next thing is uh, we will uh, add a authentication for the user. Um, What I'm trying to say is we don't want the user to access the profile unless he or she is authenticated, right? So what we're going to do is we will create another method here to check if the user is authenticated. Check if verify. There you go. Boom. And return false. Let's just assume that the user is not authenticated first. Just copy that and then uh, up inside of the profile, after the put method, we will add the middleware. Now, since we already initialized the authentication class, we can directly call the method check if verified. Now, let's save it and run the page. There you go. Now let's run the profile. Let's see if we can access it. There you go. We cannot access it since it is returning false. Now let's say for example the user is authenticated. Save it and refresh the page. There you go. We can access the profile page. It is working fine. Now let's say that the user can access the profile and as well as the settings page. Another use the the put again, the setting for the user. And as of now, let's just use the closure function and then call again the middleware, check if verified. And let's print something else here, setting page. There you go. Let's run the setting. As you can see, we can also access it since the check verified returns true. Now, if we try to switch in switch it into false, we, we cannot access it again. Now, uh, we don't want to use the middleware many times like we did from the authentication, right? So the thing we can do here is we will be using the middleware again, middleware method for the route. So type the route and middleware, and then copy, paste it, and then call the group. There you go. Function closure, and that's it. And then copy these two routes. There you go. Then we can now remove this. There. Now, as you can see, it is much more cleaner, right? Now let's try to save it and run. There you go. We cannot access it because it is false. Let's try to uh, switch it into to true, then save. There you go. We can access it again. Now we are done with that. The next thing we're going to do is uh, we will create a login submission backend. So open the authentication class again and find the login form. There it is. I will. I want to put it here. So so what we're going to do is we will call a request class, new request, and that's it. And then what we're going to do here is validate the value we submit. So validate array, don't forget the semicolon, and then type the input name. So open the login and copy this as well as the password. paste it, and then apply here the policies. The email address should be required and the type should be email. And then the password also. There you go. We will only use the required only. Then let's check if it is working. Uh, Also, I forgot to discuss this with you. We can actually use the built-in function I made to debug. So just type app, enter, and debug, and then type the value you want to display. So since this is our object, copy it, and then get the result. Now let's try to save it and run it. Now log in. There you go. Let's say for example we have entered incorrect email address. Let's say login. There you go. So we have the message here, invalid value given, example, must email. So which means we only accept email since we applied an email here. So let's try to run it again and put the correct format, log in again. There you go. Password is required because we forgot to put the password. There you go. It returns 1. Therefore, it means it is true. So what we're going to do is we will add another condition here. If it is true, then put the message login successfully. There you go. Then we will print here the error message if the result is not true. So we can also apply a message here, a different message for the specific policies. So let's call the message array email address, and then the no, I forgot. Sorry. So just type another email and then type. So in this case, we can put a custom message if the type is wrong. So for example, invalid email address format. Let's test it. Once again, remove that. There you go. Invalid email address format. And why is it displays to message? Okay, I have no idea why this. Oh, it is because we are calling the get result twice. So instead, to avoid that, we can just simply add another variable result, and then just copy this one, and there you go. Remove this. It should be working fine. Submit again. There you go. Invalid email address format. Now we will. So the next thing we're going to do is we will be create a model class to for the validating the email address and password combination. So username, I mean email and password combination. So again, uh, we open your terminal and then type command. You see, we will create another model class. Just paste and then let's say users table. There you go. Please locate display users inside of the model directory. Now check the model directory. There you go. We have the users model. Now, so what we're going to do here is we will validate the email and password if it is correct, right? Now, what we're going to do here is let's create a static function, validate account. There you go. Oh, and return this bool. Let's say, for example, if user is true, this is true, then return true, else return false. So this is just for testing. Let's just for now let's just test it if it is working fine. And then if we're done, call the users model and validate account. Let's see the result. It should be should be true since we are using the since our value is true. Let's run again. Oh, forgot to change to correct the email address. Then type again. There you go. Ball is true. Again successfully. So what we're going to do here is we will open our database. Then we will create new database name. Oh, there you go. For users create, and then account ID, auto increment, then email and password. So let's just say 2525, and that's all for now. Let's just create it. There you go. We have the table account now. So what we're going to do is we will check if the value we provide is matched to our existing data we create from account. Now let's create a example data example gmail.com. The password is 123. why why is it takes too long? There you go. Now we have the existing data now, and we will uh, check in, in this in this function. So what we're going to do is um, call again the app. There you go, and then query and sell. I mean, yeah, it is correct. Just count count from account table where email and password is matched, right? So result. Oh, we forgot to put the email here. We should have the email and string password. Then copy paste it inside of our query. There you go. There you go. And let's check the response. So once again, app and debug to see the result. There you go. And I forgot to configure the database name which we have just created. So to change the default database from this framework, we navigate the init file and then search the database name. There you go. And then change it into users. There you go. Save it, close it. There you go. Let's try. Oh, I forgot to explain also to you. When we only want to retrieve the data, always to use a class method, one of these. So yeah. So since we are only counting it, you can actually just remove the count and use the count. There you go. Then let's, and of course, don't forget to put also the email and password. The email. Post is email address and password. There you go. Let's save it and run. This should be correct. 123. Same with same with our password and also the email. Login. There you go. The result is 1 because our email and password is matched. Now let's say for example our password is incorrect. There you go. 0. So that's what we are going to do now. So let's return the result. There you go. Just copy this and paste it here. You can just put it in to yeah, I think that's all. Since our model class is ready, then we will create a condition here. There you go. If it is true, then log in successfully. So the next thing we're going to do is save our data, the value we provide, into our session. So save it into our session. Now we will create another class method inside of the user class. Static function register account into session. There you go. Just we don't want to return anything else here. Just save the data inside of our session variables. Just copy this. Oh no, only the email. There you go. And insert it inside into our session. Let's just say let's say users for the our key and let's say the account we use is email. There you go. And is log in is true. There you go. Then copy the class method and paste it here. User. There you go. And copy the email address. Now let's try to let's try to uh, let's try to check the session. Now since we have already done registering the account into our session, we will save it and run the page. Refresh again, never. Example and 1, 2, 3 login. There you go. Since our debug the result is true, it returns 1. Now to check the session, we can check here the get or post. Actually, we have the email address and the password. Now check the session if we have insert the users. And there you go. We have the example email and its login is true. Now in this case, we can now change our function from verifying the users. There you go. Then check if session user, users is set and is logged in is true. True. There you go. Just copy this, return. That's all. Now in this case, it should return or identify if the user is authenticated or not. Now let's go back. Since we have already saved it into our session, then we should we should uh, access the profile. There you go. We can access the profile page. Now let's say for example, now let's say for example, we want to put the customer email address inside of our profile page. We can do that by simply changing the put into get. There you go. And put the params we need, which is the email. And when using the get method function, always remember to have a single argument inside of the profile page method. Now, let's locate the profile page. There you go. Get params. Copy that. App debug. Oh, what? Forgot. Debug get params. Let's check. Let's check. Okay. Oh, I forgot. After the submission, we should uh, redirect the user into our profile page. So what we are going to do is call the redirect to profile and then email address. There you go. Now this should be working fine. Let's try to run it again. There you go. Type the example and then again. We should, I don't know what is happening here. Let's add it up the back. Wait, I'm confused. Should have the cat params. Check if verify. We should have this one. We should have Okay, let's try to check here first if it is running. Working, working. Then we should uh, redirect to our profile page, right? Profile. We should. It should redirect to our profile page. Just remove that. Oh, it's not working. Why is it? Let's try to put outside of our middleware. There you go. It's still not working. I don't know why. I forgot. How is this? How is this happening? Maybe the redirector is not working well. Add a location. Inside the main post. Something else is not working fine around here. Just there you go. Oh, something is wrong with my function I made. Hmm. Well, maybe the domain is not initialized correctly. So yeah, I think that's well, we don't have the email because we didn't put the equals. Yeah, let's go run it again. There you go. We have our example in gmail.com. Yeah, so that's it. It is working fine now. Um, what else? For register, okay. For registering, for register, we can go back to our register page and then open the login form, close it, and for the register, put inside the form and register form, email and confirm password, and then register. Let's try to save it. Register. There you go. Email address, password, and confirm password. Now, the next thing we're going to do is open the web again, and let's add another post request for our register form. And don't forget to create also a class method register form inside of the authentication class. Fine, there you go. And then just copy this. We can actually do this inside of the closure function. Just an example that it is also possible. Here, we can actually do that. And instead of instead of initializing the class here, we can just simply put it inside here and then request. Then remove. There you go. Should be working fine. Since we have the email address and password, we should also put the confirm password. I remember we used the C password, right? C password. Yeah, correct. C password. It should be required also. And same, it should be same with the password. Same this one. There you go. And then for the confirm password, copy this again, array, and we are using the same policy. Put the same here, and then just put the message, the custom message, password, and confirm password should match. There you go. And don't forget to put the app debug. Let's see the result. Get result. There you go. The register form. Let's try to run. Password 123 1234. No. Password and confirm password should match. It is working fine. Now let's go back and correct the password. There you go. It is successfully registered. So what we're going to do is just copy this and then result, there you go. If the result is true, then we will register the user into our database. Now again, let's call the users. I can actually call the users here again, users, model, there you go, and user. There you go, and then call the let's create another class method inside of the user. So this method is for creating an account. Oh, what happened? Yeah, forgot to put function. Just there you go. Just use the void. And then the next thing we're going to do is copy this and let's insert our new account to our database. Insert into forgot account. I forgot. Insert into account. There you go. The the column name is email and password. I think that's right. And the values. Values. There you go. And the string. Ah, tired of typing, so just copy this one. And then put it inside here and password. And since we are not retrieving any database, we don't need to use any method now. So because it only inserted data into our database. Okay, and then when when our data is successfully inserted into our database, then we will register as well the account. So email. There you go. And I think we need to put the header. Yeah, I think we should. That's there you go. Just copy that. Boom. I think this should work fine now. Place it like that. And copy this and put it inside of this function. There you go. Email is post email address and the password. Now this should work. This should work fine. Yeah. Let's try to save it and run again. So for example, example 2, we will create a new account. 123 again, 123, register. Now we have a syntax error that corresponds to our MariaDB Gmail at use near Gmail. 123 line 1 gmail.com. Yes, that is because we because this email and password is not an integer. This is a string. So don't forget to put it inside of single quotes. There you go. Let's go back. Try again. Register. Yeah, it is successfully registered and we are inside of the profile email. So this is our new email that is being registered. We can also check it here. There you go. And for the post, it's no longer saved because we are redirecting it into another page, which is the profile. Yeah. So I think it is working fine now, everything, and just it's up to you guys if you want to add another function. Destroy session, that's like that, then session destroy, then call this whenever you want to log out, and I think that's all. Yeah, is there anything I need to explain? Oh well, yes, of course. I forgot to explain this to you. So as you can see here, this is very prone to SQL injection, right? Because we put the data directly into our database, or I mean the query. So we can use a PDO. In order to use the PDO, because as of now we are using the MySQLi. So in order to secure our query, we can use the PDO. So by using the PDO, just do what I did like here, put the closure function and then binds. Binds and then also don't forget to put users because this variable is not accessible inside of this function area. So just put the email here or and password. There you go. And then email should be is string. Then remove this now. Is email and password. Password. Oh, right. Forgot. This should be pints. And then put the email value here. We are calling the email. This is what we are trying to call. And also this one. Password. There you go. Let's try to create another account. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But before that, we will try to debug it. Debug new registered account. Let's try to save it and then run. There you go, new registered account. Now if we try to check the queries we executed, then we have this. We are using the PDO type and it exists faster. Total rows is 1 and there you go. All the details we need is here. Yeah, so I think that's it. You can also check the session if it is saved. Yeah, there you go. Example 3 is saved. I think that's all for me. I think that's all for the video. Thank you, everyone.